Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Wong is Right on Movies Podcast. With me, as always, is Mike.
Yo!
Today, we're going to be talking about the movie Predestination, starring Ethan Hawke and Sarah Snook. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. So like I said before, we are talking about this movie called Predestination, starring Ethan Hawke and Sarah Snook. It is a sci-fi mystery thriller, and it was directed by Michael Spierig and Peter Spierig. They're brothers, actually. And they did other movies, Daybreakers and Winchester. I haven't seen Winchester. I have seen Daybreakers, but... they're
Winchester,
okay.
like the gun?
Yeah, the Winchester, well, it's a horror movie.
Oh, I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
The Winchester House.
Yeah. So I guess they directed that too, and I didn't really care for that one.
No comment? Is it right?
Yeah, but this one, Predestination, this is a movie that's, I don't know, it's going to be a little different than the other episodes we've done, because this movie is very hard to explain, and it's hard to explain it in a way where we in the spoiler-free zone, because it's those kinds of movies where you don't want to know too much about it going into it. You know what I mean, Mike?
Yeah.
It's like one of those movies you have to really...
You have to go in with no expectations.
No expectations.
Watch this movie.
Yeah, and it's got a clean slate. You just got to go in with an open mind. And because the story of how I heard about this is just my friend. He just told me, he's like, hey, Fred, you need to check out this movie, Predestination. I'm like, okay. So I bought it. Like, I saw it at HMV. Remember HMV, everyone? Yeah, when it was around. I bought it at HMV because that's the only place I always sold those kinds of those types of different movies. Like, you can find this movie in Best Buy or Future Shop or Walmart and stuff, because it's a very ambiguous movie. It's a very independent movie, I would think.
I saw it in theaters, so
yeah.
I saw the trailer.
I'm surprised you even saw it. I'm surprised you even saw it in theater. I didn't even know this movie was out in the theaters. I thought it was one of those like straight to DVD movies, because I never even heard of this movie until my friend told me about it. But it's I remember just buying it, and I watched it, and it fried my brain.
Did it?
Yeah, it fried my brain the first time watching it. But it's one of those movies where you do have to go in totally with a clean slate and totally with no expectations, and just watch it with an open mind, because it's very different. I mean, it is science fiction, but it's very original, in my opinion.
It's the science fiction I love, man.
Yeah, it's
what makes you ponder.
Yeah, and the story behind it, and just how it all works out and stuff. But I'll give you the quick rundown of what it's about. So it's in a world where time travel is possible, and temporal agents. There's a temporal agent who's played by Ethan Hawke. It's his final mission, and he must go back to 1975 New York to stop a bomb attack from happening. So that's pretty much what it's about. I don't want to say too much more, because obviously there's going to be other things with time travel. I mean, that's the thing about time travel movies, man. It's make or break. They're very hard.
It's imagine Minority Report had a baby with Looper.
Yeah, or I don't know, man. Any time travel movies where it talks about, like, any movie that always talks about time travel, I'm always like iffy about them, because I'm like, there's so much science that we don't know about. Like, we haven't proven time travel yet, so It's always just theory, and it's always just. And I love how movies, when they have time travel, they never explain the science behind it, because they can't. How can you? It's like, you can't say, "Oh, this is how we did time travel." It's just there. It's like, we've created time travel.
It just works.
It just works. Just go with the flow. Like, every movie does this, even Groundhog Day, when they kept repeating the same day. You never know why he's repeating the same day. He's just doing it. And same with Looper. And the beginning, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his character just says, time travel has been invented. That's all it says, but you don't know how. So that's just like every other time travel movie. So I'm always iffy about it, because it's a very slippery slope to do a time travel movie. It is, I think, because the science can just fall apart. The story can fall apart so easily by like a loop, like a plot hole or something that
something that is the minute detail that doesn't make sense.
Because you have to, because when it's a time travel movie, you have to set up the rules too for it, in that movie. So if you establish those rules, you have to live and die by them. But sometimes you might write yourself into a corner and go, oh shit, I established this rule, but now I can't progress the story further because it won't fit with the rules I set.
The rule of the world of the movie.
So it's very hard to, well, for me anyway, when I watch a time travel movie, it's very hard for me to like,
I think check my brain off. Predestination, it's not so much like the technology that's the overall basis of it. No, it does show it a lot, but it actually shows the technology in a fun way. But
it does. It's a cool concept. That's what I mean. This movie does time travel well, and it sets up the world very well, and the how it works and everything. But I'm just saying, when I was coming into this movie, I wasn't expecting much.
Really? What do you overall think about it?
I thought it was a great movie. Like I said, it made me. It's one of those movies that makes you think.
It's the best type of science fiction.
Yeah, it is the greatest type of science fiction where it's not just because there is the difference between like science fiction movies, which is, you're exploring the theory of science and the theory of things that we haven't invented yet, as opposed to sci-fi fantasy, which is just pretty colors, explosions, spaceships.
So like the pretext of technology versus out of this world, whatever.
Exactly, because like science fiction movies, like ones like these, are basically just like precursor to science fact. Like it hasn't happened yet, but it could happen.
Right. Or it's based off like grounded.
Theories. It's like like based on theories and stuff that they're probably researching. Right. Like if you look at the original Star Trek, I'm not Trekkie by any means.
Neither am I.
But I did watch some episodes with my dad and stuff growing up. I mean, it came out in the 60s, right? But wasn't like a huge Trekkie fan. I was more of a Star Wars. Because as a kid, I liked the explosion stuff. The fun stuff. Didn't really much understand it. But watching it now, like when you watch the original series of Star Trek, you're like, most of the stuff you see in it, you're like, oh, you see like the video screens are talking through the video monitors. They have those communicators look like cell phones. They have like sliding doors going up or sideways. They make those cool sounds.
The swoosh
sounds and stuff like that. Like those are stuff that are now here. You got your video. You can talk to people through video now. You got those wireless communicators, which are cell phones, right? You got those doors sliding in and out automatic. But back in the 60s, that stuff wasn't there. So when people saw it, they're like, whoa, that's so cool. It's like, but now they invented it.
Right.
You can actually do that. And now if you watch Star Trek now, it's like it's all beautiful and glamorous. It's all like explosions and all these things. They don't really talk much about the science.
You're talking about the movies, right?
Yeah, the movies and even the new Star Trek shows, right? They're just not, they hit differently than like the Next Generation or the original series.
Yeah, my friend always told me the new movies are more of an action movie. Just look at them as an action movie and not so much as Star Trek.
Yeah, because Star Trek, they not only talked about technology and science, they always talked about philosophical things too.
Right.
It was always about morality and like what do we do here? There was in some kind of like situation where they have to figure out what's the best course of action, strategy, all this. So it's very smart writing, very smart movies. Now it's like you watch a Star Trek movie or something, it's like just blow shit up. Right? There's no
invading.
Yeah.
Aliens.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had aliens in the other one, but there was always like strategy involved. Like when they're fighting the Klingons, they didn't just go attack. They had to figure out what's the best course of action. Do we attack or do we find some other strategy around it? Do we negotiate? And they're actual commanders. They're very calm, composed. Even in the face of danger, they always compose themselves in front of their crew. And then these new ones, they're fighting each other on the command deck. Like you see
no
Spock,
rank involved.
Yeah, you see Spock beating the shit out of like Kirk on the bridge. And I'm like, man, if that happened in actual military
court-martial,
you're done. And
you eject you out into space.
Yeah, or you see them crying and stuff in front of the crew. I'm like, what? You don't. If you're the commander, I get that it's sad, but you're the commander. You have to maintain a level.
Yourself, yeah.
You can't be angry. You have to be in control so that your crew doesn't break down. Because if you break down and you start crying and shit, what the fuck are they gonna do? All right, and that's that's what I liked about. That's the difference I think between science fiction, actual science fiction movies and sci-fi fantasy, because it's more of entertainment when you do sci-fi fantasy.
The Martian, Interstellar versus
Star Wars and nowadays Star Trek, or like Zack Snyder science fiction movies. There's no science involved in any of that shit. Like Rebel Moon or what? It's like what? Just even when they try to make science make sense, it doesn't make sense. There's like so many plot holes. They don't set it up properly. It's like, man, this doesn't make sense. But Predestination, on the other hand,
it's a mind boggler.
It's a mind fuck. It can be. And that's why we don't want to talk too much about it in the spoiler free, because we can't, because we want you to see this with an open mind and with like, just watch it. I mean, it's not long. It's only an hour and a half. Right? And I think it's based on a short story, right?
Yeah, it's based off All You Zombies by Robert A. Heinlein.
Yeah.
Heinlein.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I butchered that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it's like, how does it differ from the book? Is it, you don't have to spoil anything, but does the storyline match the movie, or is it completely different? Or, how sometimes I say based on
I would say the first half of the short story matches, not word for word, but it's pretty close to what Robert did in the short story from what the brothers did in the movie. And then the second half like doesn't exist in the short story from the movie. Yeah. Obviously, because the short story, it's like 3 or 4 pages, maybe a 40-minute read, depending how fast you read. Right. Versus that way, contextually translated, it would probably be like a 15-minute video, right?
Yeah.
Versus an hour and a half runtime. So there's a lot of stuff they added to it. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, how long is the short story? Isn't it like?
Yeah, 30, 40 minutes. Right? Yeah. It's like 3 pages, 4 pages. It's not
I guess you couldn't really make a full-length movie with 3 pages because you had to add some meat to it, right?
Yeah.
I haven't read the short story yet, but I heard it was based on one, but just never.
Yeah, classical science, right? So.
Yeah. Because I did like research on this movie, because I remember I said I didn't even know it was in the theaters when you say you saw it in the theater. I was like, this is in the theater? I actually researched it. It had a budget of like $5.1 million and only grossed $4.9 million worldwide.
Damn.
It didn't even make back its production budget. That's not even including like the marketing budget and all that. That's just their production budget was $5 million. They didn't even make it back worldwide. But the thing is, it got such great reviews, even though it bombed. The reviews were positive from both critics and audience, right? And but when it came out on Blu-ray and streaming and all that, they got a little bit more popular. It's like a cult classic now, right?
Cult classic.
Because, like I said, I didn't hear about it until my friend told me about it.
It's probably the fans of the short story or the fans of the author, probably.
Yeah, well, he just stumbled upon it too, he said. Like, he just saw this movie with Ethan Hawke, and he's like, oh, I'll just watch it. And then he's like, oh, my God. And he just told me about it, because he's a movie buff too. And told me, and then I bought it. Because that's what I used to do back then. I would buy a movie before I even watched it.
Oh, I'm a general consumer. If I see like a somewhat good trailer, I'll go watch it.
Yeah, but
sometimes.
Yeah, but I always bought like full price. I paid full price for a movie that I haven't even seen yet. They're like, dude, that's a waste of money. And yeah, it is a waste of money because there's so many movies I bought were shit. And I was like, fuck.
Well, that being said, same thing with movies, right?
Yeah.
You haven't seen it. You've seen a trailer, maybe. Yeah. And then you go pay $14.99, and the popcorn ends up being like $40 or $30.
Yeah, and that's why
if you're bringing a date, double that, $60. And the
popcorn and shit.
Oh my God!
And you gotta pay for popcorn and pop. That's another price of the ticket. You're paying like $50 per person at that point, right? And that's probably why
That's why everyone you should share popcorn, man.
Yeah,
no one ever finishes it unless you're crazy.
I don't know some friends that can go. They go for refills during the middle of the movie.
Or like a large, or
man.
Maybe a regular or small.
No, my buddy he can eat a whole popcorn before the movie even starts. Like when we're just
I can't even do it because like the crunching in my mouth, like I can't hear anything after. I'm like, fuck, I gotta put this to the side.
He would go for a refill, and I'm like, Jesus, man, like what the hell? Like, how do you fit all that popcorn in you? Like you just had like a full one, large, and then you're having another one during the movie. But anyway,
I used to do that with pop though.
Yeah, I never.
Until they started charging like $1. I'm like, fuck that.
But. Yeah, that's probably why movie theaters are going downhill, right? Because it's just too expensive to go to the movies nowadays.
The concession,
Yeah, especially with the quality of movies that come out, like people are just iffy about going because they don't want to spend all that money for a movie that's subpar. So they
feel like a lot of movies have that quippy banter now. You know what I mean?
Oh, the funny just for funny's sake.
Yeah.
When it's like doesn't stale. and it kills the mood. Like if it's like a serious scene,
kills the mood and the genre of the movie.
Yeah, like you're watching a serious scene where someone's like dying or something, and all of a sudden someone makes a joke, and you're like takes you right out of it. You're like, why don't you just let it breathe and let it play out the way it's supposed to play out? It could be sad. It's a sad scene. Why do you have to downplay it? Tension breaker. Yeah, it's Marvel does it very well now. Every scene is like has to be comedy now.
It's like quippy.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of movies.
Because when I watched the old Marvel movies, like Iron Man and stuff, yeah, there were some funny scenes in it, but when it was serious, it was serious.
All right.
Like when Captain America's fighting Iron Man at the end, the Civil War, when he's like smashing the shield onto Iron Man.
The chest, yeah.
Yeah, they don't make a quippy joke after that. It's not like, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry I hit you.
Yeah, I'm sorry I hit you. Or like, oh, like, they don't make some quippy banter.
You only won because it's 2v1.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. It was just, they were just angry at each other, and then you just see him walk away. It's a very serious moment. There was a lot of funny scenes in that movie, but they knew how to play it. But now it's like ever since Guardians of the Galaxy came out, everyone tries to copy James Gunn or Joss Whedon. Yeah. Because they know how to make comedy in those scenes, but they also know how to play it straight. But it just seemed like everyone just tried to like, oh, I'm just going to do all comedy because that's what sells because everyone loves comedy. And it's like, no, man, it's like, James Gunn knows how to blend it together. It's like, okay, it's straight here.
It's balanced. Straight.
Yeah. Like when, if Chris Pratt's, when his mom dies at the beginning, it's a very sad scene. There's no freaking like comedy beat or some funny music going on. It's a straight sad scene.
Right.
And that's what James Gunn's good at. He's good at playing it straight, but then he's also good at making, when his comedy is called for, he can make comedy gold. Same with Joss Whedon, but I don't know. We're getting way off tangent. But.
And Predestination, there's like almost none of that. Yeah. Segues, am I right?
That was like the worst segue we've ever done.
It was the best segue.
It actually was pretty good. It was pretty good. But yeah, no, like I don't know how much we can talk about it in the spoiler free, but all I can say is like, just check it out.
Definitely go in it with no expectation, open mind. Probably don't do any research on it and just see the movie.
And don't watch the people like to like look at the deep dive before they watch the movie. Like, oh, how's it end? It's like, no, don't just go and watch it.
Don't even read the short story.
Yeah, plus it's Ethan Hawke. I mean, he's another guy I think is one of the most underrated actors in Hollywood.
He's just like low key in Hollywood.
Yeah, he always makes good movies though. He's made some of my favorite movies, and he's just a good actor, huh? Gattaca. He's done. He's in Sinister, the first one. Oh
man, I love Sinister.
It's such a scary ass movie. And then he's in Training Day. Yeah. The Northman. He plays just a supporting role in that, but he's just good. He's just a very good actor, and he's just very underrated.
Yeah, he's like Keanu Reeves before John Wick.
Oh yeah, Keanu Reeves. Yeah, it's Keanu Reeves. But that's the thing about those two.
He's Hollywood, but not Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they're just very steady. They're constant with their movies. You can always watch. When you see them in a movie, it's going to be somewhat entertaining. There've been some misses, but I think,
or at least when he's in a movie, he's good in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And Black Phone with Ethan Hawke.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's a good one.
Oh, is that I don't want to spoil that. We'll talk about it after.
But it's Black Phone. He's good in, and then his co-star Sarah Snook. I didn't hear much about her, but when I first saw her in this movie, I'm just like, oh, I don't know who this is, but she does a really good job in this movie too. She is amazing,
right?
Sarah Snook, but she's in Succession. That's a TV show with Brian Cox. Succession, yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, but she's in it.
I think it's like the one and only movie I've seen her in.
Yeah, it's a TV show.
She did a banger job.
Yeah, and then she's also in Steve Jobs.
There's two of them, right?
The Michael Fassbender one.
Oh.
Yeah, the good one. The Oscar-nominated one.
Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah. And then she was in that Netflix movie, Run, Rabbit, Run. So, I mean, she's done movies. I just never seen her movies. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, she's not like an unknown actress. She's been in a lot of movies. I just hadn't seen her in many personally, except for
She's probably like the one and only, and she plays one of the leads. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Succession, she plays a prominent role. She's the main lead in Run Rabbit Run too, and Steve Jobs, she's a supporting bit. But
regardless, she did an amazing job
in this movie. She does steal the show in this movie. She's a phenomenal actress, and if you haven't heard of her now, you'll definitely know about her after this movie because she's really a good actress.
I agree.
Her part her role
is everywhere.
Is a challenge. No, would be a challenge for any actor. For her to play that role.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a very challenging role to do, and I'm not going to say why, but we'll say it in the spoiler review. But yeah, check it out. I mean, great movie. I think it's streaming on Netflix right now. So,
yep. I rewatched it on Netflix.
Should get it. Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be on there, but if you have the chance, just watch it and let us know what you think, right? And then come back because we're going to go into the spoiler territory now, but come back and listen to our take on it.
We'll try to unboggle your mind.
Yeah, we'll try to unwrap it and then also try to unwrap it on mine. Because even when I saw it again last night, I was just like, my brain's still frying on this movie. Like, just...
Oh, I get everything. I got everything.
I know I got it. I'm just so boggled at how they were able to make this story. It's very unique, right?
Definitely.
And it's the way they do it and the way how they shot it and directed it and stuff. So yeah, but check it out, Predestination, and then come on back for our spoiler territory. We'll see you soon. All right, welcome back to the spoiler section of Predestination. I hope you are here now after watching the movie, or you've actually watched the movie before, you just want to hear us talk about it. But we would definitely like to hear what you think of it. Definitely let us know. But here we are now in the spoiler section. And like I said before, this, more than Mike, for me though, this movie still messes me up. Like even when I watch it, for me to try to make sense of try to think about this movie in the linear fashion, I can't. It's that whole chicken and the egg thing that they say in the movie, right?
Right at the beginning.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to think, like, how does it start? Where does the loop start? How does it? And it's even when I watched it again, I was just like, it's just for me to try to break it down. I'm like, you can't. Oh, I can't. And I think Mike probably has a better understanding of it, but like we said before, it is based on a short story and like 3 pages or something. And I haven't read it, but Mike has. But this movie does talk about time paradoxes or time loops or whatever. Some kind of time. Anyways, it's just trying to figure that out for me. It's a chore.
Freddie really gave me a I don't know look.
Like, I don't even fucking know still. Like, it's... I don't know if it's because my brain doesn't function that way, or we have to watch it more times. But like, I understand the movie. I know how it works. I know I just mean like if someone asked me to explain this movie in a linear fashion, I don't think I could, because it's just very it's very complex storyline.
Oh, definitely. It's not too bad. Yeah. I think
like I said, this is my opinion.
I'm no scientist, but you're welcome to tune in here for these definitions. I think it's best to kind of explain this. So obviously the movie talks about temporal agents, time travel, and it's best to kind of break the two things that might mislead people. So
it's not like Time Cop.
Yeah, there's a time paradox, which is different from a time loop paradox. Yeah, so
this is where I get
if time travel exists, time paradox is whatever happens in the past would affect the future in a linear basis. A linear meaning time is just like a string. It just continues on. So whatever you did in the past, butterfly effect would affect the future. So if you guys have seen Looper, if you were a cold-blooded assassin and you're like, what would happen if I went back in the past and shot my dad or shot my mom? Would I still exist? So in a time paradox, if you went back to the past and you shot your father, you would disappear, right?
Yeah, before you were born.
Yeah.
Shot him before you were born.
Yeah, shot him before you were born. Yeah. Like, say you shot him when he's like, or you killed him when he's like 15 or 14. Yeah. Hopefully that he didn't have kids by that age, but and then you would just disappear, and that's the paradox, right? But technically, you going into the past, doing all that stuff would actually affect how the future you, like, this is where the paradox happens. Like, if you go in the past and you killed your father, like, would that be possible? Right? That's the time paradox. So,
because if you did that, you wouldn't be able to go back in the past to do that anyway, because you wouldn't exist. That's the paradox. Doesn't make sense.
So the theory there is the theory of consistency. So scientists believe if that was the case, there'd be a theory of consistency, meaning that if you went to the past and you tried to do it, you couldn't do it to avoid the paradox. So you bring out your gun or whatever tool, try to shoot your dad, maybe your gun breaks, or you tried to stab him, maybe you lost a knife, or
someone stops you.
You slipped on a banana peel and you break your neck, and that's where your time ends. But the time itself continues. That's the theory of consistency.
Yeah,
right?
Like that. That's locked. You can't change that. You cannot
change it
because it's get that. Yeah, exactly.
And then the time loop paradox is where the future affects the past, which reoccurs back to the future. And like, we'll get into this is the Ouroboros.
It's Ouroboros effect. Yeah,
the snaking
its own tail.
Its own tail.
So it's like a vicious cycle.
Right.
It's a circle. Yeah.
So when you think of a time loop paradox, you're actually thinking the quantum theory, where time spreads its like a tree, its branches. So if you did anything in the past, it would technically affect someone else's timeline. Mm-hmm. That's where those two connect. But if you think too deep in these two definitions, you might fuck yourself up even more.
Well, that's what this movie did for me. Right. It fucked me up because it's like, what came first? How did it start? How did the story start? How did the time loop start? In this, and they even they reference chicken and the egg in this movie too. Right. And you'll have to, by the end, you'll know why they do that, because it's like, what came first? Because this movie is a whole nother beast when it comes to time loops and time loop paradoxes and all that stuff, because I still don't know what came first.
Right. So when you think about about predestination and the time loop paradox, what always fucks people up is thinking of the origin. Like, you can't think of the origin because it'll never work. Like,
and I hope we haven't bored you guys. Like, hope you guys aren't driving and falling asleep right now, because this is like the most
it'd probably distract them if anything.
Yeah, this is like the most.
Did I just run a red butt thinking this?
Well, yeah, but I just mean this is the most in depth real this serious discussion of a movie. Before we're talking about Hot Fuzz and a buddy cop movie, and then we're talking about Collateral, the Hitman, and all that. Now we're talking about time paradoxes, and
I'm no scientist. So
we're not scientists, and
don't take me for verbatim.
Yeah,
do not use me as a source in your essay.
Yeah,
please.
And do not do not tell. I'm sure we're getting some stuff. We're not saying some stuff properly. We're not time.
Yeah, it's just to my understanding.
Yeah, this is just
which is not much.
How we understood the movie. And like I said, Mike knows more than I do about time paradoxes and time loops. But like he was saying, if you try to dissect this and try to find the origin, it's hard to. It's challenging. I'm sure you could. I still have not been able to. Like I said, if someone asks me how to explain this movie in a linear fashion, I'd be like, I don't know. I think
Wong it starts with this person. That I know more about this movie very loosely. It's wild.
It's what?
You're throwing out that I know more about this movie. That's wild.
Not that you know more, but you understood the time paradoxes more than I did. Because
I hope you guys know, my nickname here is the walking comatose. I don't know shit.
What are you talking about? No, but you're explaining time. You were just explaining all that stuff just now, and I'm like, I don't know what all that. I understand what you're saying. I just. If you ask me, if you brought it to my side to say that stuff, I'd be like, what?
Huh?
What? I can't explain that. I understand. I understand the concept of it. I just don't. There's a difference between understanding it and explaining it.
Right.
I can understand it. Probably couldn't explain it until I hear it first, and then maybe I can regurgitate what you said to someone else, but it probably won't be the same. But this movie, if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. This is a movie where it's completely, I don't know. It's hard to explain what kind of movie this is.
Time travel movie.
These time travel movies are just like I was saying before. Time travel movies are just
the only thing you could say without spoiling anything. It's just a time travel movie, right?
Yeah, it's a time travel movie, but this, the freaking. Let's just break it down first. Okay, so it starts off with what? Ethan Hawke. He
The barkeep.
The barkeep. Well, before that, it starts off with someone getting burned. Well, he gets burned.
Yeah.
In the mission, and then he goes back to his time, back to the future, and he gets a new face and shit, or he gets plastic surgery to get his face back or something, right?
Yeah.
He's all wrapped
Doctor
up in
explains your body, your bone structure will adjust itself. You'll never sing again, or your vocal cords are damaged.
Yeah, so you'll be different. You might be come to a shock to how you look now because the reconstructive surgery. So it starts off with that, right? Then they give him the final mission, which is you got to find the fizzle bomber. And then he goes back to 1975 New York, and that's where he gets that undercover job as a bartender, right? And then he meets John Doe. Is that his name? John? The
unmarried mother.
Yeah, but his name was John Doe, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, because Anyway, he meets him, right? Played by Sarah Snook. And even at this point, when I first saw this movie, I'm like, that's a woman.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm like, is he playing?
When I first saw this, I was like, "That's weird."
Yeah, it's weird.
Doesn't look like a woman. Doesn't sound
like a man.
Doesn't look like a woman, but it doesn't sound like a man. You know?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason for that, though.
Yeah.
At this point of her character, because that's just But at the same time, it's like talking about But I'm thinking to myself, is this because they hired her? Because when you watch it fresh, you don't know this whole thing yet. Right. You're just thinking, why is she?
Stranger
why do you have a female actor portraying a male in this movie? But then you're thinking, as the movie progresses, you can see, oh, okay. So basically, she goes through her whole backstory, right?
They do a bet on the bottle.
Yeah. So you can go explain this part because, like I said, this story obviously of her explaining her backstory is very important to the movie. Right. And you really have to pay. And this is a movie you can't just like be on your phone on this movie. You can't like do other things. You have to really pay attention in this movie. So if you're coasting in this movie when you're watching it, we suggest that you go back and actually pay attention to this movie because you can't just have it playing in the background while you're doing something else. This is a movie you have to actually pay attention to.
Right. Where do I begin? Probably. Before we get into the deep dive of it, I think we should talk about the short story, All You Zombies. The biggest differences, aside from the dialogue, some of the dialogue they have at the bar, is there's no fizzle bomber, right?
Okay. I didn't know that. Okay.
The short story is 30, 40 minutes long, maybe an hour, depending how fast you read. It literally, probably the first half of the movie, as she talks about her past and the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. It's part of the short story. Okay. And, the whole, would you kill him? Right?
Right.
And then he figures out who the gentleman was when she was a woman who impregnated her. And then he finds, like, the identity around that. Mm-hmm. A couple months later, the agent takes him back to the agency, the time travel agency, and that's essentially where the short story ends.
Okay.
The agent sits down, reads the tenets of the agency, and he falls asleep. Then you find out the agent is the person he just recruited, because there's a story in the short story, or there's a part in the short story where she gets a cesarean section, right? And at the end of the short story, he's like, "Oh, you can't see the scars on my womb because of all the hair," and then he falls asleep. So everyone in that all the characters in that short story is all the same people, like in the movie. Mm-hmm. So none of that fizzle bomb, none of that extra stuff is there. Just kind of like,
I think they have to add that in just to make to have an actual storyline, to
drive the movie forward.
Drive the movie forward. You can't just have like a story. You can just do it. When you write a story, you can write about anything. Right. But when it comes to a movie, you have to have some kind of inciting incident. You got to have a reason for something. And
I think they did it pretty well.
They did a good job with the fizzle bar. I didn't even know that wasn't in the story. You just told me. That's crazy. So that's the good job on the directors for incorporating that and making it work.
Yeah, it feels very natural in the movie, right?
Yeah, because I didn't know that. I knew it was based on the short story. I just thought that they just took that and just made it. They just expanded on it, but they didn't even have the fizzle bar. And that's like the whole. What do you call
last half of
well, that's the whole point of the movie is him trying to stop this bomber.
Right.
That is the point of the movie. Yeah, but but when she explains it, it's very linear and it makes sense. It's only when they start incorporating that later in the movie they start pumping in the time travel aspect to it, that's when it starts getting more convoluted and more complex, and you're just like, what? But when she explains it, it's like, okay, so she grew up different. She was abandoned as a baby, put into the orphanage, right? That's what happened. That's that's where her story starts.
That's technically the origin of the time.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
And then she grows up in the orphanage. She becomes a fighter. Like she's tough.
Yeah.
Right? She doesn't take shit from nobody. And because she always knew she was different.
Right.
Doesn't know why she's different. She just knew she was different in some way.
Breaks that car headlight with her hands.
Yeah, just punches him.
That part was raw as fuck. I was like,
yeah, she's like, how old was she in that? Like 12 or something? She like smashes the headlight of a car. And cars back then, they were built to last. There wasn't like some Saturn or something that she punched. It's a car from like the 60s, man.
Where the headlights were made of glass.
Yeah, it's like real glass, and the cars were actual steel and whatever. But I'm like, damn. But yeah, and then it starts with her, and then she never got adopted, right? She got adopted by the agency.
I don't believe she got adopted.
Yeah,
I think so. After that, she gets a job as a mother's maid.
Yeah,
and then while she's doing that, someone finds her to be recruited for the
space program,
the space wenches.
Yeah, and then
the wenches is not. Sorry, the wenches, the acronym. I can't remember the acronym. That's in the short story. I forgot what they called it here.
Well, they're just a test subjects.
The space prostitutes.
Yeah, well, that's what she called them.
Yeah, well, that's what it was, right? Because
they're recruiting women that didn't have family and stuff like that. That were like, most of them were prostitutes because they live on the streets and stuff.
So right? It's talked about in the movie and in the short story where the men needed to relieve themselves after X amount of years in space, and that's what the women were for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I forgot the acronym for wenches. It's in the short story, but yeah. So essentially, space prostitutes. I don't know if that's the women of space instead of night.
Yeah. Well, basically, that was what the program was for. And she wanted to go to space. Yeah. That's her whole goal. She wants to go to space, but. I mean, this is back in the 60s, so it's like, yes. I mean, if that happened in today's time, that would never fucking happen.
Right.
Okay? That's like horrible. It's like, I can't believe it. But if we're in the 60s and stuff, different time, not much progress was being made at that time.
Hence classical sci-fi, right?
Yeah, it's grounded in that time. That's what the story is about. It's like grounded in that time. She wants to go to space, and that's the only way she can go to space is become a space woman of the night, I guess you call it. But
she gets in that fight.
Yeah, she gets in the fight. Yeah.
Because fights are no bueno.
No. And then she gets kicked out.
Yeah, excommunicado. The director, I can't remember his name.
It's Robertson.
I
believe it's Robertson, yeah. Played by Noah Tyler. He's in a lot of movies too.
Yeah, so Robertson's like, I'll try and help you out, because she had numbers like off the charts compared to the other women.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and help you out. So she decides to take some mannerism courses. The one thing she's not good at.
Yeah, she's not a lady.
Yeah, and then
in that sense of the word back then.
Right.
Yeah.
And then after one night, after a course, she walks out of the classroom, meets the unknown guy. They date for
the stranger.
The stranger, yeah.
Yeah.
They date a little bit. He decides to leave her on a bench one night. He's like, stay here, I'll be right back.
And then she's pregnant with his baby.
Yeah. He never comes back. Finds out she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Before that, the big key is Robertson comes back to recruit her.
Yes, for the program.
For a different program.
Different program, yes.
A different program.
Yeah.
She
doesn't say what it is. Yeah. Just tells her it's a different program.
She gets enrolled, and then her skirt gets tighter. She finds out she's pregnant.
Yeah.
The whole program that Robertson, like the space program, is a recruitment agency for this agency, right? So they're the elite, the best of the best.
Yeah.
But they can't have, you can't have kids, you can't have a family, you can't have a husband, no ties. Fortunately, she's pregnant. They kick her out again. So
not the best of luck.
That's where she's angry, hates that stranger, ruined her life. Has the baby. And this is one of those pivotal moments in the movie where she gets a cesarean section, and then the doctors find out she's a hermaphrodite.
Yeah, intersex. Yeah, intersex, yeah.
Take her choice away from her, which is fucked up.
Yeah, and that's, because
The excessive bleeding, they needed to make a choice.
Yeah, so they removed all her female genitalia.
And her organs.
And replaced, and then left the male and turned her into a male.
Right.
Without her choice. Just basically because they could. And they, to save her life, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But also to experiment. Just to see.
Yeah, very nasty.
Yeah.
If a doctor did that to me, I'd fucking kill him.
Of course, they don't show any of this, which was good. But, it's all mentioned in conversation. And, obviously, like, how would you feel, if you get something like that happen to you and you don't get to make the choice? It's like it's made for you. Yeah. And that's another deep theme of this movie is identity.
Yeah, identity.
Just like,
who are you?
Who are you? Yeah. And, like fate versus choice. Can you...
Predestination.
Predestination. Can you change your fate, or are you predestined to become who you're going to become? And with the identity thing too, it's like there are people that can relate to that where their identity is taken from them. It's by choice. You think you're one way, but then everyone else tells you, nope, you're this way.
Yeah, you're this way now.
You're this way now.
You have to be this way.
You have to be without. You don't have a choice in this. And then people can identify with that. Especially in today's world, there's so much of that identity politics going on. And I'm not going to get into that because that is, no.
I'm not touching that with a 10
I'm not getting into that because that is this is a movie podcast. Okay. But at the same time, like this movie does have that theme.
The underlying things, yeah.
Underlying theme of identity. And, who are we? Do we identify by how we look and what we have? Or is it more
our personality?
Yeah, our personality or how we think. It's just a very. Sex, it's like a lot of people like to identify.
Or can we all change that?
Yeah, but it's just.
Are we predestined to be that way?
Right. And this, and she's now had this horrible thing happen to her, taken away from her choice of her being an intersex gender. So now she's a man.
Right.
And then now she has to. She has to become she has to live and talk like a man, pretty much act like a man now.
That part's sad when she's doing the voice thing.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you? That part.
She's trying to talk with a lower tone and be more manly in that regard. And then slowly she cuts her hair, and then her face change. Like I think the structure of her jaw changes too or something. She starts looking more manly, and then that's when you look back at the bar scene when you first see her, like
but we missed the point. There's during her recovery phase of the pregnancy, the baby gets taken.
Oh yes, the baby gets kidnapped.
Yeah. And then that's the whole line, like talk about taking the last reason for a man to live, right?
Her last because she even though she had all this stuff happen to her, now that she's a man. But at least she still had her daughter.
Yeah, her daughter.
But that was taken from her now too. And now that's the last thing that gave her hope. And it's gone now.
Right.
So it's like, what does she have to lose now?
Right. So or he decides to...
he at this point now. So
join the space program, except as a man. So as an astronaut.
Yeah.
And then they find out they have all her records. So she gets denied.
Yeah.
And so her life sucks, or his life sucks. I'm sorry if I'm going to go his or her. They're all the same people at this point.
The same person. We can just call them, because
I'm only saying she as the actor.
Yeah, because she starts off as Jane Doe, and then in the movie she becomes John Doe.
All right. So
she started off as a woman in the movie.
Yeah.
And now at this part of the movie, she's a man.
Jane to John Doe. So John's fucked.
Or you can just call her the unmarried mother.
Yeah.
All right, that's what she's labeled as in the when you see the cast list.
Unmarried mother.
That's the unmarried mother.
That's the name in the short story as well. Yeah.
So you just call the unmarried mother, but yes, that's when I saw when you see that the whole backstory of the unmarried mother. Now I'm like, oh, that is why when I first saw her in the bar, I'm like, that's a woman. Why is she playing a man?
Trust me, imagine reading the short story where the barkeep is like, oh, that's the unmarried mother, but he references himself as he. I'm like, what the fuck? I had to read the short story back in the day like a bunch of times to understand. But so now John...
But that's what but now it makes sense because it wasn't just like a casting choice or like, oh, we're just going to do it just to do it. It actually makes sense for the story.
Right.
You know, they didn't just do it just because, oh, she did a good job in the casting, so we're just going to hire this female actress to play a male.
Yeah.
You know, it actually had a sense.
There's a reason.
There's a reason for it. And I guess that's why they did it that way, because I'm pretty sure everyone that watched it the first time, they're like, that's not a man, that's a woman.
Right.
It confuses you.
Right.
In that part. Like, not in the way where like, whoa, that's not normal. It's just, you don't see that in movies.
No, you don't see it often.
Yeah. So it's very cool.
You see the opposite, the man playing a woman, but never a woman playing a man.
Yeah.
I should say never, rarely.
No, don't. Like you see, when a man dresses in drag in the movie, it's because of the story requires him to dress in drag to disguise or whatever. Same with a woman dressing as a man. It's for the story. I just mean that they didn't do it because of, just to do it. Right. There was a reason for them to do that. And it's explained later. So it confuses you because you just don't understand why they're doing this, but it makes sense now.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying.
John gets fucked because he can't join the astronauts.
Mm-hmm.
But at his time when he was a female, working as a mother's maid, he would enjoy reading the confessions in the magazines.
Yeah.
So he decided to become a writer, gets a typewriter, and then now we enter the bar scene where John Doe meets the barkeep, and that's where
Ethan Hawke's character.
Yeah, they're betting the bottle of the underwear. I forgot what it was called, underwear something.
Yeah, something. I don't remember. But yeah, they were betting something and they're playing pool and stuff like that.
Yeah, while she's explaining that whole backstory.
Yeah, whole backstory. Because here's the thing, that whole backstory scene, that takes up half of the movie.
Yeah, which is the short story.
Yeah, so that's the whole short story. So like I said, if you're expecting an action movie, this is not an action movie. It's a science fiction thriller. It's just about...
I would say like mystery.
Sorry. It's a mystery and it's a thriller too. I mean, there's some at the end, I guess. But noir-ish. It's a mystery. Yeah, it's a noirish, slow burn science fiction movie, right? Yeah. So that's why at the beginning of what I was saying, beginning of the episode, like, don't expect a Star Wars type movie or Star Trek type movie. This is not it. You're not going to like it. If that's what kind of sci-fi you like, this is not it. But if you're into like, good storytelling, good characters and stuff, hopefully you liked it. If you watched this just now, hope you liked it.
Right. So from the bartending scene, Ethan Hawke's character, the barkeep, he's like, yeah, it's pretty good. She's like, do I win the bottle? He's like, well, you can take the bottle if you want, but and he brings up the question, if you can find that guy right now who fucked up your life, would you kill him? And obviously
she doesn't hesitate.
Being freaked, well, she's freaked out. He's like, what do you mean? And then Ethan Hawke's like, oh, your orphanage, blah blah blah, is named this, and then she was changed to this. He's like, are you following me? And then he laughs. He's like, am I following you? Right. Mm-hmm. Forecasting who they are.
Yeah.
Right? And then he goes like, okay, come to me in the basement. How about he says, if I bring you that person, you have to do a favor for me.
Yeah.
The doubt there. Mm-hmm. You go in the basement, another foreshadowing. It
goes back to
what if you're the fizzle bomber? What if you're the fizzle bomber? And they both laugh at it.
Yeah.
Go downstairs. The whole cool briefcase part. The time travel technology.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I like that, the whole guitar case, and it has
that's actually in the short story. Yeah, it's a briefcase in this game, but
I just love the concept how they did it.
It's so simple.
They're not walking into like a machine, or there's like they have to hook up all this equipment on them, and it's just the dials on the guitar case.
Yeah,
and the month,
whatever the environment was back in the days, exactly where they're going to be teleported back in the day.
Yeah, and
so simple.
And I just love how when it disappears, like you just see like the wind of because everything blows away or something like that. Like when he's in that car and he teleports out of the car,
breaks
all the windows just smash.
That's a good scene.
Yeah, very cool. Like the cinematography in this, since we're it's very well done,
right?
And it's very simple. Like there's no like electrical beams and. Like Terminator was like they didn't need much CGI. That's probably why the budget was so. They were able to make it work with the budget they had, which I think is very creative.
I still think that even if they had a big budget, even if they went that way,
they probably still went the same way. It's a very cool thing. Like it's just a temporal vortex.
Just, a little field.
It's just like a quick blink of the eye and they're gone, and just the way they showed it, very cool.
So the only difference in the short story is actually it's a net. So they throw a net on you, and then they do it with the briefcase. Because anything in that net will suck you up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess that would look weird if you did it in the movie. Like, what?
So the whole explanation in the short story is like, when the net is thrown, it forces people to go back and walk onto the net so that you're in range.
Right.
I don't know. This is forced. So
okay.
It was a cool little feature.
That's cool. But they made it work in this one. It's very cool.
They go back in time, the time where Jane Doe meets the stranger, right? And Ethan Hawke's the barkeep gives her a wad of 100s, which is earlier explained that the stranger had wads of 100s, right?
You already know where this is going.
Yeah. In the short story, they explain that it's unusual for people to carry that much money
at that time.
And when people hold that much money, they're like doubtful that they actually have that much money in their hand. Brief thing in the movie with that whole thing in the short story, she's like counting the money while he's talking to the barkeep. So I thought that was a cool connection. Barkeep drops her off. And then there's the scene, right? In the flashback compared to...
Well, now we see it from the stranger's point of view.
Yeah.
Which is...
John
Doe.
Meeting Jane Doe.
The same person. Just different. Now they're just... It's not a woman anymore. It's a man. Yeah. Meeting himself as a woman.
So what confuses a lot of people there is people think that only happens briefly, like for a day or two. But the barkeep is actually gone for months. So they've been dating for months. Yeah. While they're doing that, the barkeep goes back to the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Where Jane had the baby.
Yeah.
And that's where you meet the director. They have this cool little dialogue where they're just like, it's not as simple as you think it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes whatever happens must happen for everything to continue forward. And Ethan Hawke, the barkeep, is like wondering, how is he going to live his life not knowing the future, right? Because everything previous to that, he knew how it was going to go down.
Right? He's a time agent.
Right?
Yeah.
And, the cool crisis thing there in that little scene, the identity is like, I'm going to fuck up this little kid's life. Yeah. Like, if I do this, I'm going to fuck up this little girl's life. Mm-hmm. And, the director is like, you have to do it. It's not as simple as that, right? Takes the kid, goes to the orphanage.
You find out who kidnapped the kid.
Yeah. Barkeep leaves the child at the orphanage, phones in. You get the cool scene where he disappears in the car, shatters all the windows.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Oh, during all this time, too, the barkeep is recording voice memos, right?
Yes.
So like, hey, you might feel confused, discombobulated. Don't worry. It's only temporary. Yeah. Don't jump too many times.
Yep.
Ruins your mind.
Yeah.
All these little voice memos that come into play later because you find out it's for him.
Well, he's living it for himself.
Yeah, but for his younger self.
Yeah,
so
his younger self. Yeah. Just to make sure he doesn't make the same mistake he's making, kind of thing. Like, yeah.
Well, the cool part is after he goes back, you see the barkeep and the bench scene where she's like.
Where the stranger disappeared.
Jane Doe said the stranger's like, hold on, stay here. I gotta go for just a moment. See it from her, John Doe, Ethan Hawke's waving. She doesn't want to leave. Blah, 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 blah. Convinces him otherwise. In the short story, the barkeep makes a comment. Or it's like a thought. Is like, I was surprised how passionate the last kiss was, right? They didn't kiss for a few seconds. They kissed for minutes.
Yeah.
Going back to the movie, convinces her, like, you have to leave her. That was the deal, right? And I knew you wouldn't kill the stranger because, she's not going to shoot herself, or he's not going to shoot himself, right?
Yeah.
Goes back, she gets suited up. John Doe meets the director again, and now she's shocked, right? Because the director, she was going to be, when Jane Doe was there and the director was going to recruit her, it was for this temporal agency. And now she's just being re-recruited as a man, right?
Yeah.
And all those voice memo he's leaving is for her, or for him, for John Doe, for himself.
Well, when he became a rookie.
Yeah. You won't find this out until later in the movie.
Well, they already know. They've already seen this movie. Hopefully, right. If they're listening to this, they already know this.
So, Ethan Hawke's character, the barkeep, tries to get the fizzle bomber one last time. He fails. I think the fizzle bomber breaks his shit. But then he hears gunshots and screaming. He runs to it. And you realize that's the beginning scene where the guy's face is on fire. Yeah,
it's John Doe's face is on fire now, and then Ethan Hawke's the one that saves him, gives him the briefcase, so that John Doe can get out of there and go back to the future to get his face
redone. He would get saved anyway.
So he disappears,
right?
Because he did an illegal jump there. Is that where he did the illegal jump?
No, the illegal jump was bringing her to Jane, or bring John Doe to Jane.
That's right. Okay, yes, that's right.
That's the illegal jump.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like Mike's explaining.
Oh no, sorry. The illegal jump is that's incorrect. The illegal jump is going back for the bottle of the underwear whiskey.
Oh, okay. Yes, okay. That's what I mean. The movie's just very
because he's like, I technically won this. He grabs the bottle and then he jumps back.
Yeah.
So like, I quit.
Now, if you're listening to this right now, you can see how I'm confused. And you're probably confused too if you watch this for the first time. But yeah, okay. Because like there's so many intricate details in this movie. There's so many little things you have to pay attention to that if you forgot about it or you didn't see it, then it's
if you're on your phone on this,
you're not going to understand the full concept of it, and you're not going to be able to appreciate the storyline that's about to unfold here, the twist that's about to unfold, and so he
fails the
catching the fizzle bomber.
Yeah, saves himself. So now he's in retiree. He failed the last time.
Yeah.
The director was like, "Are you sure you want to jump back to New York so close to the date of the explosion?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm sure." Jumps back, rested in his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his briefcase
says decommission, then it retracts to error.
Yeah.
Right? And he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he's looking at the notes that the director, the last tips, like, "Oh, this is the last
known
things
stuff.
of the fizzle bomber." Yeah. That he figures out where to find the fizzle bomber, goes to the laundromat.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, Ethan Hawke versus Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, it's Ethan Hawke versus older. Wins. Yeah, we're older Ethan Hawke versus older Ethan Hawke. Crazy Ethan Hawke now.
Yeah.
So he is the fizzle bomber too.
Yeah.
He is himself.
Yeah. So, there's a scene before that where Ethan Hawke's trying to relax and he finds a typewriter, meets the woman. Jane? No,
that's not Jane.
I can't remember.
I forgot her name. But yeah, meets the woman at the antique store.
Yeah.
And then they have like a connection.
Yeah.
You can see like...
The cool thing there's a lot of Robert A. Heinlein's books there. She's holding a book and there's another book to the side he's written.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
It's a nice homage to him.
Yeah. Tidbit. Yeah. Even the typewriter is the typewriter that guy uses, so I thought it was like, hey, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. So he meets this girl, so it's kind of like starting his retirement. Now he's gonna meet this girl. They're gonna have a good life together. But then he
that's the whole briefcase going error.
Yeah. So basically, it still works. Then the briefcase didn't fail. It still worked. He can jump back and forth if he wanted to still. Because there's an error on it. Yeah.
And that's one of the key things. One of the voice memos say, the more you jump, the more it fucks with yourself. Right?
Yeah, the more crazy you get. That's probably why he's the fizzle bomber.
Right? He's like, imagine all the people I saved.
Yeah, because you jump back so many times.
10,000 people just to save like 20,000 people. It doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah, it's like he's still killing innocent people. Regardless, like the ends don't justify the means. Is what they're trying to say. It's like there's a whole other morality thing too. It's like, hey, I saved all these people, but I sacrificed all these people too.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like that's like
that's an underlining feature. Theme in the movie. I'm gonna fuck this person's life to save many others.
Yeah, sacrifice one life to save hundreds. Or it's that whole. It's a morality question.
Hence,
it's like, would you?
What happens to Jane Doe? Right, fucks up her life.
Yeah,
because remember, he stole her. Right, so, and then the last identity crisis happened. He's like, no. If you shoot me, you become me. You have to learn to love me again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
However you guys want to take that, we could probably talk hours about just that sentence alone, right?
Yeah.
And Ethan Hawke I'll never become you, puts 6 rounds into him.
Yeah, right? He just kills him.
Right.
Little hesitation, just bam, 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 done.
Then you get the little quick montage of John Doe getting suited up, getting the briefcase, and then the last scene is Ethan Hawke with the bottle almost empty, just staring into the camera because he completed the loop. He becomes the Fizzle Bomber, right?
Mm-hmm. Because he killed him.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't know if he's going to become the Fizzle Bomber.
Yeah, well, that's where the time loop paradox comes into play. So essentially, if you guys are confused here, no matter, it's called predestination because they don't have a choice in the matter. No one has a choice. Yeah. Right? It's all predestined.
It's all planned out for you.
So Ethan Hawke's character will always take the baby, leave it at the orphanage. Orphanage grows up. The little baby becomes Jane Doe.
Then John Doe.
Baby gets taken. Yeah.
So the time loop.
There's the time loop. Now when you're thinking about, where does it begin, the chicken and the egg? Well, the theory is the director started the time loop. So the big theory is the first person to drop off the baby.
Like when he says director, he doesn't mean the director of the movie. He means the director of the program. Yeah.
The temporal agency.
Yeah. Mr. Robertson. Yeah.
The theory is, when you think about the origin of the time loop, is Director Robinson is actually the one who drops Jane Doe to the orphanage. That's where the origin of the time loop begins. And then Ethan Hawke's barkeep just continues the vicious cycle. So one thing that's not really shown or mentioned from the short story to the movie is the barkeep actually has a ring, which is the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail. That's shown. There's a bit of banter between the unmarried mother and the barkeep, how they talk about being both bastard children, and it's not new to them. And then the unmarried mother talks about his ring. He's like, "Oh, I just got it as a souvenir from a coworker." So that's one thing they didn't mention. They kind of mentioned the snake eating its own self. No. But that's the loop in itself. The time loop paradox is that they don't have a choice. They think they have the choice, but they don't have the choice, and it continues as a vicious cycle. Mm-hmm. And another theory is that the little notes that the director Robertson gave the barkeep is like fictitious, just to make the Fizzle Bomber, because earlier in the movie they say the Fizzle Bomber made the agents better agents. Yeah. So the director, quote unquote, made the Fizzle Bomber. It's a really cool thing.
Yeah. I didn't get all that when I watched that. I'm like, okay, those you mean theories as in like fan theories or
just your
theory that you saw? Like,
no, it's just like Reddit theories, fan theories.
Oh, okay, so it's a fan theory. I thought you meant like that's part of the movie or just theories from the fan base.
No, because
is that what you mean? Those are theories from like Reddit and stuff.
Yeah, fan base.
So they're not from like the actual movie director that said it. Like this is.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. That's why when you said that, I was like, I didn't get any of that. Maybe because I'm just not smart enough to get it. Or maybe I just mean like I said, this movie I was too busy trying to figure out how this movie even works. I'm just like. But that makes sense though, with the whole like the director being the one that
starts the loop.
But it's like predestination, and then that's always the overlying theme of any time traveling fucking movie. Is it predestined or do we have choice? That's every time travel movie has that.
Yeah,
it's not. It's like when you watch time travel movies, like that's could be a theme, and it is because like, can you change your future,
right?
Or is it preordained? That's what this movie is. Like you said, predestination.
Even Interstellar has it. Like the whole choice.
Yeah, it's like choices. Can we change it? And like, would you go back? And if you go back in time, would you change it? You know what they say? Like, would you go back in time to do this?
Bro, I'd go back in time to steal money. Fuck killing people. What can they even in the world?
Just bet on the lottery and you're done.
Right.
And then just give it to your old self, and then or give it to your
hide it somewhere, undig it up later. Like, hey, look at all this money.
Or just put it in a bank account, let the interest grow, and then you just go back to the future.
I would go like literally days before they did like the lottery, figure out what numbers, go back, you know?
Yeah, there's all those things that you can say, but then they always say that, you know, all those things have consequences, right? You change that, then you change other things in the world and it fucks shit up, right? That's always the whole thing.
I only fuck over rich people, so it doesn't matter.
What? Winning the lottery doesn't fuck up rich people.
Or fuck up someone who's about to become rich.
Well, you might fuck up the person's life that was supposed to win it.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Well, we can see that Mike would be a villain when it came to time travel.
Hell yeah. I think most of us.
No morality whatsoever.
Most of us would be villains in a movie, man. Like, I'm pretty sure like 100.
No.
I'd say like 98% of us would be villains.
I don't think so.
Because most of the time, people can relate with the villains. And I'm here to save the world. I'm here to save.
You have a bleak outlook in human nature.
Bro, I'm here to steal money to save my daughter and hopefully get her cancer treatment or whatever.
Well, you don't have a daughter and she doesn't have cancer.
I'm just saying, if I was a villain, you don't know that.
I don't know that you don't have a daughter that has cancer.
You don't know that. If I was a movie villain, you didn't know that.
I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about right now in general.
Bro, I'll adopt one.
I'm just saying you're like, we can already tell that if you went back in time, you would not go back for good purposes. You go back for selfish reasons.
No. Let me know if you guys agree with me. You go back you have a time machine, man.
I'm not saying people won't agree with you. I'm definitely people are going to agree with you. And definitely people that aren't going to agree with you. That's just the way it is.
If you had a time machine
I'm just saying,
at your fingertips, you wouldn't go back to do good stuff.
Oh, no, you won't go back to like save, like, let's say someone that tragically died in an accident or something that you could have prevented.
Steve Irwin in the Stingray? No,
I'm talking about like a personal friend of yours that died in an accident that you could have prevented. If you went back in time, you could prevent it. Would you not prevent it to save that person's life?
No, I don't think so. I would.
So you go back and steal money, but you won't go back to save someone's life from like some unfortunate accident or murder or something.
What am I gonna do if it was from a murder? They'd probably kill me too.
What are you man, you make no, I'm not saying you have to go and stop the murder yourself. I mean, you just call the police or just tell a person not to go there that night or do something to prevent them from going. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to, I'm not talking about you have to bring a gun and shoot the killer, you fucking idiot.
Come on, we know the movie tropes. You know what's going to happen. You go to the side.
I'm not talking about movie tropes. I'm talking about life. If the time travel
I would be 100% selfish. I have a time machine.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay.
It's like if I had a spaceship that could go anywhere, would I? Probably not.
A spaceship to go anywhere? What do you mean?
Like a spaceship to go to a different planet, whatever. I probably wouldn't do it.
Well, why would you go? I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about like time travel and the whole thing of time travel.
Just keeping it simple, man. Yeah, like taking money is a lot easier than saving a life.
Oh, I'm just saying, like, if I went back in time, I would definitely try to save some
and I told you,
close
like,
loved
I wouldn't
ones
go
of mine.
like, I wouldn't go years in the past. I go like,
10 minutes into the past?
No, like a couple days. Lottery's here. That's what the numbers were on today's date. Let's go back a few days. Let's do the lottery. Get my check, cash it out, go back. Whatever. There's a couple months, whatever it is.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
No, I'm not saying
I wouldn't dare go past like. Even a year.
Why don't you just invest in just companies and like invest in Google before it became big, and then you're good for life? Why do a lottery? You know. Because then
wouldn't be old enough to invest into Google if I went to the past.
Oh, I guess you would. I would be. I would be. Because Google came out in like 2000. What was it? No, when did Google start? I don't remember when it started. But I'd be old enough. I'd be an adult when it came out. I know that for a fact.
Probably like 2000.
I don't remember. But I just mean like you could invest in that. Or you can invest. I'm just saying like you can invest in Bitcoin.
But how would you invest though? Like Bitcoin? Think about it. You would have to give them your ID. Like nothing of that has changed. Your ID, where you live.
No, but you like for Bitcoin. Like if I had the mind, if I knew how good Bitcoin would be now, and went back, I would go back in time when it was like $50 a coin. And I had the money back then.
Oh, it's like way cheaper. It's like $1 a coin.
Well, no, I'm just meaning when I heard about it, it was around $50. Right? I would probably put in like, $1,000 worth of Bitcoin on that right there. And then now, how much is it worth now? One Bitcoin? Fuck.
See,
it's like 20 grand or some shit.
I think winning the lottery is just so much simpler. Give you a check, cash out.
Anyway,
and when I say like a couple months back, all your banking information is still the same. So no matter what, it's all good. You know what I mean?
No, I know. I'm just all I'm saying is We would be different people when it comes to time travel.
Yeah, but we're still villains because we're trying to get ahead of the game. It doesn't matter. Well,
I would just make sure that I would try to make my past self not do such dumb shit.
I would do. I'm riddled with dumb shit.
That's what I mean. That's the main thing I would go back for, just to tell my past self, like, don't fucking do this at this point. Don't do this. Like, well, not directly tell him, but just kind of veer him to the right path.
Post-it notes on his door
or something. That's all.
Freddy from the future.
That's what I would do. It's just so I could, like, when I come back to the present time where I am now, I'd be like, hey, he did it. He changed his life around. My life is better.
How would you convince your past self that your future self is trying to tell you a message? That's a better question.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I mean. You have to figure that out, right?
Bro, I figured out like a day where I was like super sick. I'm like, oh yeah, you're gonna fucking shit yourself this day because you're sick. Stay at home.
Yeah, but what you mean is how you can convince them that you're from the future.
Yeah.
Without having to show them, like, hey, because that would just probably cause fucking trauma. Like, you just see your old self talking to you. I don't think you're young. I don't think a person will be able to deal with that. And plus, it fuck them up too, because then it's like predestined.
Right.
The predestination thing again. It's like, can I change it?
Segways.
So that's anyway. I just thought that was a funny thing to talk about. At least now I know never to travel back to the future with you,
bro. Tell me honestly, what would you do?
I told you, I would honestly tell my future self. Like, I would tell my past self not to smoke.
With the tip of technology so advanced to go back in time.
Certain exes that I dated, I probably wouldn't date, knowing what would happen with the outcome. Just stuff like that. I don't think I would want to completely like.
You're too much of a nice guy.
No, I'm not saying I'm a nice guy. I want to take it like I said, I would invest in Google. At least that way, there's no like.
But like, how would you do it? Would you tell your future self to do, or your past self to do it? Or would you do it yourself?
Yeah, I would. Maybe I would wear a disguise, go up to my past self.
I'm just saying, it's a lot easier to make yourself rich through the lottery than invest in Google.
Yeah, I know. But with Google, if you invested right at the beginning and you put all those shares in, you'll have money forever. It will never run out. If you win the lottery, that money's going to run out. It's a lump. If you win like 20 million, cool, you got 20 million. You can invest it again. But I'm just saying, with Google, knowing how popular it is now, if you invested it right at the beginning, and you bought like majority shares or bought a big chunk, how much that you'd be set for life. And then you can invest in other things from that. You go, I'm going to invest in Apple now. I'm going to invest in Bitcoin. I'm going to invest in.
But what if your investment, because you changed the past, it fucks up the future where Google?
Yeah, well, that's where you don't know, right?
Right. That's why I said the lottery. Right. Yeah. You don't affect anything. You just win the sum. All your banking's information, because like I said, you're only going like a few months in the past, so the lotto money.
But what if you win the lottery, but then you win it with the same person that would have won it? Then you have to split the winnings too, so you get less money.
I wouldn't split it with you.
I'm saying if you went back in time and you guessed the lottery numbers, right?
Yeah.
So there was a person that actually won it before you changed the time, so he or she would still have the same numbers.
I'll kill that person.
See, that's what I mean. See, there you go, criminal right there. You're gonna kill a motherfucker. Well,
I mean, fucking 20 million divided by 2 is still fucking 10 million.
I'm just saying you won't get as much. All I'm saying is, I would just invest.
I'm just saying, like, a lot of the easiest way. Your banking information is the same.
Do you actually think that Google, regardless if I invested in that, would not be successful?
I don't know. This is where the paradox happens, right?
Well, because something could happen.
Maybe.
Yeah, but what if you won the lottery?
Bing becomes a thing.
You could win the lottery and then some shit thing happens to your life that you don't know that wouldn't have happened if you didn't win the lottery. So you don't know that either.
I won the lottery.
What if like a loved one of yours dies? We're having you in the lottery or something.
I'm still rich.
Do you hear this, ladies and gentlemen? Do you hear how dark this fucking guy is? Like, oh my god. Holy shit.
Sometimes it's not about other people's happiness, it's about my happiness.
Oh, wow.
I'm straightforward with it, man.
Yeah, very fucked up is what that is. I'm dealing with a sociopath here.
A little bit.
I don't torture small animals. Well, not yet. Or that we know of. Fuck. He's like, oh, I don't care if someone dies as long as I get my money. Holy shit.
Yeah, as long as you get paid.
Well, where's this fucking podcast going?
I swear, deep down inside, all of you guys agree with me.
No. No, you are on your own on that. Well, you may be a small percentage, but no.
It's a huge percentage. No, it's like majority.
Yeah, you're fucked up.
I just say things people don't want to say out loud.
No. Because what you're saying is what sociopaths think. Other people don't think that because they don't go there. That's not how their brain's wired. You fucking psycho.
Hell yeah.
So don't say like, oh yeah, you guys would think it too. No. You gotta be more, you gotta be more detailed in that explanation. Sociopaths, you're right, will think exactly like you do right now. So anyone that's thinking like, yeah, I'd do the same thing. You really need to look in the mirror and really figure that out.
Bro, I have a time travel machine in my fingertips. It's fine.
Yeah, so would I. But I'm not going to do evil. Anyways, let's just not go there. Let's just keep... Okay, back to Predestination. So, yeah, anyway. I don't remember. Where did we leave off?
Oh, that's pretty much it. The end, it becomes Fizzle Bomber.
Yeah, well, we didn't really reveal the twist. The twist is actually that Ethan Hawke is Jane Doe.
Yeah.
Right, they're all the same. Every single person is the same person. This whole movie is like one character. They're all the same person, and that's what messed me up.
Jane Doe, the barkeep,
John Doe, Fizzle Bomber, the baby. The man and woman.
Yeah,
the mother and father. They're all the same person. So this movie is basically the main character is the mom and the dad of the child, and he's also the child, and he's also the barkeep. So he's also the protagonist.
He is his own parents.
He's also
he is his own grandparents.
Yeah, he's also the protagonist and the antagonist. He's everything, and he's the grandparents. Yeah. It's very fucked up. I don't think I've seen a movie like this where
the foreshadowing is crazy. Chicken and the egg.
Yeah, chicken and the egg. The songs, the song choices they use.
My own grandpa.
Yeah, that's why I said that when I saw this movie, I was not expecting this kind of
the whole
outcome.
Fizzle Bomber comment. What if you're the Fizzle Bomber? What if you're the Fizzle Bomber?
Yeah, everything.
Both the Fizzle Bomber.
They are the Fizzle Bomber, and they're both. It's like, oh, I kidnapped myself. In the orphanage, I dropped myself off. I had sex with myself.
That one was a little weird.
to give birth to myself. Can you understand how messed up that is? Like why people would get messed up with this? That's why I'm so messed up when I saw this movie because I'm like, whoa, wait, what? Because it really doesn't. All it does at the end is just show you the montage to make you connect the dots. It doesn't go into a long, drawn out exposition dump of how this happened. It just shows you by giving you the flashbacks of each. It kind of recalls everything so that you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. And then it ends abruptly like that.
Right.
So it doesn't give you time to breathe because it ends so abruptly. You're just like, what did I just watch? It's over. Like, what? And that's why my brain was so...
I actually prefer that ending.
Yeah, no, it's a good ending. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that's why my brain was so fried. Is because I'm still trying to process what's happening, but the movie's ending, and I'm just like, whoa, what did I just watch? Because that is... Like I said, this is very different from the other movies we've done. And we are going to cover movies like this. Because these are movies that I like too. That a lot of people enjoy. But this movie's not for everybody. It's not going to be for everyone.
Yeah, if you don't like sci-fi or...
Well, not only sci-fi,
just quote-unquote those kinds of smart movies where it allows the viewer to connect everything versus the heavy exposition.
Yeah, there's no...
other movies too.
Which I like. I think these directors, they know that the audience is smart. They don't think they're stupid. I like movies like that where they don't have to spoon feed you.
Me too.
Everything. They just go, we trust you as the audience to figure this out. We'll give you the hints. We'll give you the stuff. But you guys are smart enough to figure it out. And you are. We are. I mean, like I said, it's a very smart movie. It's a well-made movie. Everything's done very well. It's just very, very messed up. Just the whole concept of it. The whole concept of not the time travel part aspect, but the whole using time travel to give birth to yourself, to fall in love with yourself, to be your mother and child to yourself. Like that, just thinking about that, it's like, what? It's huge. It blew my mind anyway. I'm not sure about you guys, if you guys watched it, like, did it blow your mind? Were you guys confused or did you kind of like, did you think it was stupid? I don't know. It's very subjective, right? But
yeah, it comes to, if you guys are wondering why the short story is called All You Zombies, it's because in and itself, self-contained, kind of like main character syndrome. The main character is the only one who thinks that they're the only ones who can think, right? And that's the superior personality that Jane Doe has, John Doe has. Jane thinks she's superior
to everybody.
John Doe thinks he has the worst, best story, right? Mm-hmm. He thinks he's better than everyone else because he's lived the worst.
Right.
Right. And that's the whole title of All You Zombies, because the main character feels like everyone else is zombies. Well, he's the only one who can think, right? Think for
He's the only one that knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He's the only one that, he can, she is smarter than everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that you do get superiority complex.
Yeah.
She has that in the movie. That's her flaw, one of her flaws, right?
Exactly.
And it doesn't help her. It's that whole thing of like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Yeah.
She wants to be right. She doesn't want to be happy. Because I hear that, because a lot of people like to argue. People like to put all that energy in arguing about something to the point where it stresses them out. It gets them angry. They can't stop. They can't sleep because of it. It's just because they want to be right about something, whether it be an argument with their spouse or with a friend or something, that they just constantly, and it's just, then that's when I heard when it's like, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Because right now you can't have both sometimes. You can't be right and happy, So like that's what some people are, huh?
That's why I would steal the money.
Yeah, well, no, all I'm saying is that like some people, because some people, when people are arguing with them, they just go, you know what, you're right, I'm good, and they just walk away because they don't want to argue,
right?
Because they don't care about being right. They just want to be like, it's just stupid.
I'd rather be happy than not right.
I'd rather be happy. That's why when you were saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna kill that motherfucker, I'm like, you know what? Cool, man. You're sociopath, but that's cool.
I'd rather be happy, not right.
Okay. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about the whole discussion about the whole time travel part of what we would do, but
I'll never let this go.
I know. See, there you go. You never let it go. You'd rather be right than happy. But that's the whole thing of her thing, is like she thought she was so superior to everybody, and at the same time, it's like that cost her a lot of shit too.
Right.
In my opinion, her identity too.
Which kind of makes sense. The reason why he slept with herself.
Yeah.
Himself,
it's like a narcissistic thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's narcissism, right? Like that. Well, that's the God, right? He fell in love with his own reflection. Yeah. This is kind of like a metaphor to that. Like, only person I could fuck is myself, because I'm the only one good enough.
Because I'm fucked.
Yeah. So that's it's like the whole thing. It's like, even like that's why I like these character studies too, because it's just she's very she. This is everyone. Like a crazy character. Like, wow, like what the hell? There's so much to dig into this thing. We can just do a deep dive, a whole episode just on her character.
Right.
On the whole character of the barkeep, Jane Doe, John Doe, barkeep, the Fizzle Bomber, all one character, but they're all playing different. The characters, like so many different aspects of what we could become. Yep. You could become a killer, bomber, psycho. You can become a agent. You can become loving father, or just a writer, like
depressed writer.
Her. It's just like this whole thing about time is like how much time, when we're given the time that we have, how much things we can do in the time that we're given.
Right.
Okay. Without time travel, I'm saying, in real life. But with time travel, we can do so much more. If time travel is possible, you can do anything, right? Anything's possible. But like, I think that's a nice little kind of thing about real life too. Like, we can become anything if we make the right or wrong decisions. It can lead us down a very nice path or a very horrible. Yeah. Consequences, right? Just like Collateral we did last episode. Every choice has consequences. I still love this movie. It's a great movie. I'm just very sad that not many people know about it. Like how it bombed in the theater. I'm just like, what? It only made 4.9 million worldwide? That's not even domestic. I'm like, okay, domestic, sure. But it probably made like 20 million worldwide, right? No. Because I'm just like shocked. I was just like, what? And it's like, this movie deserves more attention.
It deserves a little more love.
Yeah. It does. And like I said, if you haven't seen it, well, hopefully you have, because if you haven't seen it and you're listening to this part of it,
spoiled all of it.
Yeah, there's no point in you even watching it.
Now you know my evil plans.
Time travel don't exist. So if time travel is invented, keep it away from Mike.
Or watch your bank account.
Or if someone wins the lottery by some weird reason, it's probably Mike. But so we definitely do recommend it. Hopefully you guys liked whoever's listening to it. All the 2 people. I always say 2 people are listening because, like I said, I don't know how many people are going to listen to this podcast. Hopefully
everyone.
I don't know.
Force it down your throats.
And if we bored you with all this time travel talk,
was this too in depth? Let us know.
Yeah, we love the feedback. We love to hear it. Just be respectful. That's all we say. We're probably the next movie we're going to cover probably a little bit more fun, because we have been covering movies that are, well, Hot Fuzz was fun, but
we're gonna cover
like a movie that's
Requiem for a Dream. I'm just joking.
Yeah, we're gonna cover Black Swan and Requiem, all the Darren Aronofsky feel good movies.
Sicario.
Like, my God. If we're ever gonna do a Darren Aronofsky
you guys want to
podcast, it's gonna be imagine doing all of his movies. Oh my God!
You want some crippling depression after listening to us? Let's cover one of his movies.
Yeah, man, all of them. But I think that's it. I don't know if there's anything else we need to cover in regards to it, but
everything.
We hope you enjoyed Predestination, and we hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and we're definitely going to be covering more different types of genres. Like I said, we're going to be covering all aspects of movies, fun movies and sci-fi movies, sci-fi fantasy, action, everything. So this is like the first one I think we've covered that's very out there. This is not like a general audience movie. I guarantee you, if I talk to 20 of my friends, probably 2 of them have heard of this movie.
Me and the guy who told you about the movie.
Probably. Yeah, exactly. Everyone else is going to be like, what? But, because, the title, you don't really... And when you hear the synopsis, when I told the synopsis at the beginning, it's like, oh, time is just going back to the past to stop a killer. You're going to think like, ooh...
Minority Report.
It's going to be an action, thriller, a lot of chase scenes, and, all that. It has nothing. At all like that, but
there's like 2 action scenes, the beginning and the end.
That is literally the synopsis for the movie,
right?
Like, that's what it's about. It is about that,
right?
But you can't say anything else because it's going to spoil it. I'm not like, who's going to watch it if I said, oh yeah, so you have to so basically a person has to stop himself
from himself
from bombing this place. But did you also know that he's also the husband and the mother and the father of himself, and he was born by himself. He fucked himself. It's just like, what?
I think people might watch it just based on that.
But if I said it, you spoiled it.
Yeah,
that's what definitely. I mean. You won't watch it anymore because that's the big reveal.
Yeah, the twist.
Yeah. You're not. Who's gonna think that's gonna be the part of the twist? Watching a movie like this, any movie, that this is what's gonna happen. No, that's what I mean. It's a very ingenious twist. It's a very cool, reveal, and it works with the story of time travel.
Well, if you spoiled it, no one's gonna watch it.
Yeah, that's why we didn't spoil it. And if you're watching it now, we warned you. We gave you that whole spoiler thing.
Definitely let us know how we did with our spoiler free. Like me and Wong, we were just like talking about it earlier.
Yeah, but we're just talking about like the difference between sci-fi stuff.
You're like, we're talking. Well, no, earlier when I got here, you're just like,
oh yeah,
how much can we save for the spoiler free? It was really tough to decide the route we were gonna go.
Well, yeah, because we don't want to. Well, yeah, we don't want to like spoil it and be like, oh shit, just totally
like give like one little piece of detail that spoils the whole movie.
Yeah. So, but next one we're gonna cover is gonna be a little bit more fun, more of a fun movie. Where you can just watch it and just have fun with it. Right. Well, I'm not gonna tell you what it is because we want you to tune in. It's just secret, but we just like to keep you on your toes. Right.
We're gonna watch 50 Shades of Grey, obviously.
Yeah, the whole trilogy.
Yeah,
and then we're gonna watch some
super fun.
Yeah, and then Darren Aronofsky's whole collection.
All of it.
Whole collection, and then I'll probably have to kill myself.
Yeah, hang myself. Just from the 50 Shades of Grey saga.
Yeah, not from the Darren Aronofsky, from watching 50 Shades of Grey. All right.
Then we do Twilight if I survive the hanging.
Right. God.
And then get myself flogged if I survive that. Yeah. That's another terrible trilogy.
I never watched 50 Shades of Grey, so I have no interest.
I'm the 1%. I have not watched either.
Maybe 1%. Actually, I guess a lot of people had watched that. It was a hit in the theaters, unfortunately. But yes, so yeah, stay tuned for our next episode. But we hope you enjoyed it. We also hope you have a great day and that you're, having some fun, having a good weekend, or whenever you're watching this. Actually, I'm going to leave you with this question. So, if you did have the capability of time travel, would you agree with me or would you agree with Mike? Would you agree with me and go back and you would, help someone out or change something to make yourself better in the future? to make yourself, you don't make any dumb decisions? Or would you be like Mike and be a fucking dick?
Yeah, I'll be 100% selfish.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave with money.
Which one
so I can live in the future at my time with money. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't do that, but I would do it in a more responsible way. And I wouldn't kill a motherfucker to do it, is what I'm saying.
No,
okay?
You're going back.
I'm like, you can do so. All I'm saying is, would you go back? Oh, we'll just leave it to make it easier. Would you go back in time to do something good?
Would you be
responsible?
Would you be Wong or would you be a Mike?
Would you
Let
be
us
Mike?
know.
Do you Wong or Mike? Because Wong, what's the name of this podcast?
Wong is right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, we'll just end it at that.
You little shit.
We'll just end it at that.
Wait. It's not about being right. It's about being happy.
yeah, right. And when your Wong is right, Wong is always happy. So that's how it goes. I'm right and happy. I got the best of both worlds.
Shut up, you liar.
All right, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Ciao.
Take care.
Give it to me.
The principles of quantum mechanics. Coincidence? I think fucking not.
It's a way out.
You're gonna hold the door for me, man. Whatever.
Come on, this way.
The devs made one of the most likable characters in the video game.
His job to keep me locked up in here.
Agreed?
We'll see about that.
Agreed.